with regard to food shortage, yes, we did talk about food shortages, and it's going to be real. The price of these sanctions is not just imposed upon Russia; it's imposed upon an awful lot of countries as well, including European countries and our country as well.
You also said don't be having no land and shoes mean nothing in 2050.
Yeah, in 20, nigga, Michael Jordan tennis shoes won't mean nothing. This motherfucker might kill you when you show up and you toting 300 pair of tennis shoes and they need beans and rice. Yeah. Think about our who live in the inner city, homie. They are completely stripped of means of feeding themselves. They can't fish and they don't know how to grow food. If you look in the grocery stores, nigga, we starting to have a food shortage, look like. And then most of the shipping containers that being shipped to America on the docks, they're not being unloaded. So a lot of things are backed up. Ketchup packages, salt packages, diapers, baby milk. Man, we running out. So the average inner nigga who wake up every day and put on tennis shoes, he don't know how to take a cup and put a seed in there with dirt, put it in the window and grow some food. So he's completely dependent. He don't know how to feed himself. So if he can't get a job and he can't grocery shop, he got to go ask somebody, can he eat?
All right, we're likely going to see a food shortage pretty soon here in the near future, but this is not to scare you. This is to inform you. If you watch the full video on your For You page, let it be this one, because this is going to be a lot of shit that you're going to be like, what the fuck? All right, so let's start off by saying that in the Netherlands right now, the government is forcefully taking people's farms. Forcefully. Because they want to reduce carbon emissions, nitrogen emissions is what they say. The farmers are reacting how you would expect them to. They're protesting. And the government is literally shooting at them. Peaceful, like that dude was just trying to get out of the way and he's getting shots fired at him. Now they say it's for carbon emissions, but if you look at the United Nations recent posts, I'll read this. Hunger has great positive value to many people. Indeed, it is a fundamental to the working of the world's economy. Are the most productive people, especially where there is a need for manual labor. They then proceed to say, no wonder people at the high end are not rushing to solve the hunger problem. For many of us, hunger is not a problem, but hunger is an asset. What? They're also trying to convince people to eat bugs. That's probably why you've seen so much vegan propaganda. I myself even went fucking vegan after watching a Netflix documentary, which Netflix is also posting movies, documentaries based on their political bias. They're very liberal. I'm not political. I could give a fuck.
Nothing. Oh, awesome. Like nothing you've ever tasted. Like a hairy nut.
There was also this video going around of thousands of dead cows that died from overheating in Kansas. Yeah. Not one survived. All of them died. I'm just going to kind of censor this. So I have a friend in the Netherlands who says that this is all true. So like I said, this is not to scare you guys. This is just to bring a little bit of awareness to what could possibly be going on, to maybe prepare a little bit, stock up on an extra piece of food every time you go out. That's what I'm going to be doing. And drop a like if you think I should do a part 2 on this.
Source of water for some 40 million Americans. Look at this. The satellite images, the new images from NASA telling the story, showing the lake shrinking. That's 2000, the year 2000 on the far left, all the way on the right. That's where we are today. ABC's Ginger Z taking us to Lake Mead tonight.
As Lake Mead dramatically dwindles, a time capsule of the last 80-plus years is emerging. The latest exposed artifact, a World War II Higgins boat, designed to ferry heroes to storm the beaches.
People were actually scuba diving around this boat as recently as 2020. That means there was up to 40 feet of water above my head just a few years ago.
This brand new satellite imagery from NASA shows the stunning shrinking of Lake Mead over the last 22 years.
Lake Mead is at only 27% capacity. This could be one of the worst droughts we've seen in 12 centuries. And the Bureau of Reclamation is telling the states that use this water, you have to come up with an emergency plan for cuts and restrictions in the next couple of weeks.
And Agenda 21. And this is Dr. Richard Day again, 1969. Growing food will be banned by saying it isn't safe, and the state and corporations will control all food production. The supply and distribution of food will be monitored so that no one can give food to a fugitive of the system.
All right, I want to start off by saying Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahawashi, Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahawashi. Call halal Yahweh by Hashem Yahawashi. Call halal Yahweh by Hashem Yahawashi, by Hashem Bakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone that told me this doctrine in truth and sincerity. Shalom to elect. The Heavenly Father's name is Yahweh, which means He is or He exists. By Hashem, in the name of His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. We know His name to be Yahawashi, which means He is the deliverer. He is the Savior for the Hebrew Israelites from the pedigree of your father. By Hashem, in the name of the Ruach HaKodesh, which means the Holy Spirit, that's able to give us this knowledge, wisdom, understanding of who we are, which are the true Hebrew Israelites. If you're so-called Negro, so-called Latino, so-called Native American, or of the speckled bird looking like the other nations, and your spirit bear witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Most High, you could be one of the elect. Shalom. We've been discontinued from our heritage because we went off following after false gods and false idols, not following the law, statutes, commandments that was given to us by our forefathers. And because of those offenses, we were sent into captivity. But through Yahawashi HaMashiach being that perfect Lamb, our Savior, that He would wake up His elect to be able to have the understanding and be able to teach through the truth, to be able to teach the word of the Bible, to be able to give comfort in these latter times, because we're in the latter times. We're in the twilight of the end, okay? When the vision is yet for a appointed time that these things will not tarry and they will push forth, which is what? The spirit of prophecy. You have Esau, Edom. Esau means wasted away he is, and they are the biblical Edomites. And it speaks about in the scriptures, which is the white man, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Oppenheimers, the DuPonts, the ones that want to bring in their New World Order, the Novus Ordo Seclorum, okay, by order out of chaos, problem, action, solution, Hegelian dialect, which is pressure from below, pressure from above. And what they're doing is they're clamping down on the food industry, making food a weapon, okay, crashing the economy, creating hyperinflation, where you're going to have to bow down to this beast system. Their one-world religion, which is to worship the beast, which is to have a charagma, a graven image in your forehead or in your hand, to take away your VMAT2, your God gene, okay, to ultimately take away your soul, to what have you be theirs, okay? Because again, the elect is not gonna they're not gonna take those devices that Esau Edom is offering up. They're gonna trust in Yahweh Hashem Yahawashi. 7,000 men that haven't bowed down to the image of Baal, okay? And that's gonna be the 144,000, right? Men and Commonwealth believers that are gonna be able to get saved out of this place, because the destruction is all around us, okay? From the inside out, this place is being destroyed, okay? The inside is the economy, the people inside of it is being sieged, which is a military tactic, okay? And then on the outside is going to be the hypersonic missiles that are going to be coming from these other countries that are going to be hitting Babylon the Great. Babylon the Great is these elites' cash cow, the mother of all harlots, which is America, okay? And Babylon means confusion, and America means bitter. And you have these kings and princes of the world that are waging war on the people to bring in their Novus Ordo Seclorum, okay? To have everyone in subjection under them. And they have an agenda to what? There's 8.8 billion people in the world, and they want to bring it down to 500 million. And how do they knock down and destroy people? By giving them the illusion that they have rights, giving them illusion that everything's all right. But when they shall say peace and safety, sudden destruction shall come. And that's what's happening. You had the monkey juice that just came out, and they're making it global. So they're bringing back out that hot sauce again. Problem, action, solution. It's funny how they, whenever that I'm just going to say it in the, a dark parable. Whenever they have the nachos ready, here comes the hot sauce. They always have it ready, right on a plan. Millions and millions of hot sauces that they want to be able to distribute to the people. Problem, action, solution. But only the elect is going to be able to attain it, while the rest are blinded by the shaitan of this world. Okay, and the Lord has sent forth his prophets, starting with the head apostles at Great Millstone and the men on down that are pushing forth this word, the testimony of our Lord Yahushua, which is prophecy, which prophecy is all around, is going all around. You have the famine, the wars, the rumors of wars, these class wars, these civil wars, the uproars of the people, earthquakes in diverse places. You have, over there in Europe where people are getting burnt to death. Okay, you have these droughts over there in Lake Mead. And Lake Mead funds a lot of the water that comes down to Southern California, okay? And they have water police that are going to be if you're using too much water. And they also have they're waging war on the people. They have a 100-mile radius. If you're in that radius, they can legally come into your house and take you out of your house, call you a health risk, and put you these internment camps, okay? And that's what the prophets, the true men of the Lord, are going to give you the warning about what these devils are doing. And this is going to be centered around the food shortages and the drought. And this is all prophecy. But the Lord's going to be with his elect. Okay, because of Israel, of you so-called Negroes, so-called Latinos, so-called Native Americans, right? There is an elect. And we're praying that we are the hopeful elect, that we're able to make our call and election sure, that we're able to endure to the end. That the blood be off our hands because we gave our people warning, right? Let's start right there. And we're giving you warning that there's going to be a food shortage, okay? And this is strategically planned by these wicked elites to have you bow down to the beast system, breaking that staff of bread. Ezekiel 3:17, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me. So the words are from Yahweh Shema Shai. Okay, they're divinely inspired, right? This is not of our own will. The Lord, you don't have a will. The Lord has trained your hands for whether it's to be righteous or to be wicked. Okay, a man's goings are of the Lord. How can he know his ways? And he works on your mind when you're sleeping. Job 33:15 works on your minds to be able to train you what you're going to do for that day, the instruction that you have for that day. Okay. And we're praying that we're on the fervent spirit, the righteous path, the narrow path, right? So Jeremiah 3, and we'll skip it down, 19. Yet if thou warn the wicked, and he turn not from his wickedness, so when we're out here warning people, giving them the warning, if they don't hear, right, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul. And that's the whole point, is to give you warning, whether you will hear or you will forbear, to be able to save our soul. So there's no blood on our hands. Okay, that's why you got to blow the trumpet. Keep not silent. So if you're holding this truth in a napkin, you're an Israelite, a couple breakdowns, but then, and you see prophecy happening, but then you're just doing whatever. You're just in the world. Ultimately, the Lord's going to spew you out. It speaks about that in Revelation 3:15, because the Lord doesn't need you, right? And you're going to get caught up in the famine, the pestilence, the bloodshed, the strife, and the calamity. Right? Because also in that same chapter, Revelation 3:20, it speaks about the Lord supping with you. And when you go into that word sup, it means to be intimate. Okay? And when the Lord's intimate with his wives, right? Because Yahushua is a husbandman and we are his wives, we're compared to a delicate woman. Okay? He's being intimate in you by giving you the vision of the word to be able to give warning. If you love me, John 21:17, if you love me, feed my sheep. Okay. And the Lord wants faithful servants, faithful wives. Okay. That are going to be loyal, that are going to be stand stiffly for this word. Okay. And what do the prophets do? This is right here, Jeremiah 28:8. It says, the prophets have been before me. The prophets that have been before me, and before thee of old, prophesy both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and evil and of pestilence. And that's what we're seeing right now. And whenever that you see the prophets are also known as the seers. They're able to see the vision, the forecast of what's about to happen, which is ultimately a famine. You're seeing the blackouts. You're seeing where they're coming in like a flood. Okay, Esau, Edom. They're waging war on the people. Okay. We see World War III brewing. We see class wars, civil wars. Okay. It's about to be utter chaos. A time of what? Jacob's trouble. Right? The hour of temptation, a time of trouble like never before. Yeah, you have Russia versus America, Taiwan versus China, Iran versus Israel. Okay, you have the Netherlands. They're over there beefing sedition amongst people against the farmers against the government. You have Sri Lanka, the president, running to a boat to be able to get away from the people partying in his house in the pool. Okay, you have Puerto Rico, they're marching. You have Ghana, they're in an uproar. Pakistan, they're in an uproar. Okay, Babylon the Great is the only place where they're fighting to knock off babies. That's what they're doing over here. That shows you the constant mirth that this place is in a gross darkness. Okay, but that light, that truth, is going to wake up the elect. The pestilence. You just had the monkey juice that came out yesterday. They made it nationwide. Okay, and that's going to lead to major lockdowns. Okay, this time it's going to be more intense than it was a couple years ago. Okay, and the Lord has sent forth his prophets. The prophets are also known as doomsday prophets, to bring in the judgment. Okay, that's why people didn't like. Let me get that. What is that? 1 Kings. Let me just get that. 1 Kings 22 and 17, I think. Slakia, bear with me. 1 Kings 22 and 17, and he said, I saw all Israel scattered upon hills as a sheep that have not lost their shepherd, and Yahweh. Okay, is it 2 Kings? Bear with me. Yeah, Salakia, it's right here. It says 1 Kings 22 and 20. Let's start right here. 1 Kings 22 and 22. And Yahweh said unto him, wherewith he said, I will go forth, I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of the prophets. And he said, that shall persuade him and prevail also go forth and do so. 23. Now therefore, behold, Yahweh hath put a lying spirit in the mouth of these prophets, and Yahweh has spoken evil concerning thee. Okay, and that's all the prophets are able to whatever that the Lord wants to bring forth, that's what he's going to bring forth, right? Okay, it's actually, it's in 17. Let me go back up. And basically the story is about Salakia, here it is. Okay, 1 Kings 22 and 18. And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, did I tell you thee that he would prophesy no good concerning me, but evil? Yeah, so our people want to hear nice, smooth things. They don't want to hear the actual truth that there's going to be a famine, that you have to turn to the Lord. They want to hear nice, smooth things, but this word is not is not meant to be to your liking. Okay, especially if you're being rebuked. Because again, we've gone off. The Lord is having mercy on us to be able to have the prophets give the warning. They want to hear this. Isaiah 30 and 10 says, which I say to the seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not. Unto us right things, speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceits. Yeah, so our people want to hear lies. Okay, they don't want to hear that there's going to be destruction in this place, and they got to get right with the Lord. Okay, they don't want to. They don't want to hear that our Lord's a so-called black man. Okay, they don't want to hear that Esau Edom's going to be coming in like a flood. But the thing is that going to change what's going to happen? Okay, is that going to change the course of this movie? No. Romans 3 and 3. For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of Yahweh without effect? Yahweh forbid, yet Yahweh be true, but every man a liar, as it is written, that might be justified in the sayings might overcome when thou art judged. Okay, and the Lord is judging this place. He has that black horse that's out, and he has a balance scale in his hand. okay, judging righteousness and judging wickedness. And those that don't come back to the Lord, they're going to be judged. And that goes for those that know they're of Israel, because these devils are going to be coming after Jake first. Okay, they're coming to the ghettos and the vadios. And the Lord's going to judge those that know that they're of Israel. 2 Chronicles 36:15, and Yahweh, our power of fathers, sent to them by messengers. Okay, so you have terrestrial messengers, which are the prophets. Okay, they are the angels in the flesh. Then you have celestial angels that are in the spirit world. Okay, and they both have the testimony. Those are our brothers. They both have the testimony of Yahushua, which is prophecy, bringing in the kingdom. It says, then by messengers rising up at times and sending, because he had compassion on his people and on his dwelling place. So the Lord has compassion on his people. Okay, but also the ones that don't hearken, he has a controversy with, right? It says, but they that mocked the messengers of Yahweh despised his words and misused his prophets until the wrath of Yahweh arose against his people till there was no remedy. So one thing people like to say, especially our people, they like to say, oh, that was written by the white man, the Bible. Okay, when it actually wasn't. And King James was actually a Jake. Okay, and it was divinely inspired, the epistles that were written in it by Israelites, because only Israel is going to be able to attain this knowledge. No heathen is going to obtain this. They can't. They're not going to be able to attain it. Okay, as far as the mysteries, right? So I'll read this again. But they mock the messages of Yahweh and despise his words. Yeah, so they call us wearing dresses. When we actually have ancient garments. You believe in that Bible. That stuff's not going to happen. Yahushua is not coming back. That's not his name. That we won't come back to the ancient name. We won't know the name. Those are mockers and scoffers. It says, and despise his words and misuse the prophets until the wrath of Yahweh arose against his people until there was no remedy. Okay, and that goes into those plagues, right? And this is what's going to happen to our people. The Lord's going to bring forth a heavy wrath. This is Jeremiah 15:1. Then said unto me, through Moses and Samuel, stood before me, yet my mind could not be towards this people. Cast them out of my sight and let them go forth. Yeah, cast them out of my sight. Because what? This is Jeremiah 5:28. It says, yeah, 25. Your iniquities have turned away these things, and your sins have withholden good things from you. Yeah, so Deuteronomy 28:1-15 speaks about the good things that will happen if we hearken to the Lord. Then, Deuteronomy 28:15-68 would be the curses that will fall upon us. That's how we know that we're of Israel, because those curses are upon our people. It says, for among my people are found wicked men. They lie wait as he that set snares. They set a trap and they catch men. So TD snakes, you have the leader of IUIC, not teaching the true doctrine. Okay, calling on Christ bless. You have ISUBK, telling you to go take the hot sauce. You have ISU Sakari speaking about carrying around sticks, wearing hats. Okay, all these things are traps and snares. Okay, carnality is enmity to the Lord, right? 27, it says, as a cage is full of birds, so are the houses of full deceit. Therefore are become great, waxen rich. It says they are waxen fat, they shine, yet they overpass the deeds of the wicked. They judge not the cause of the fatherless, yet they prosper, and right of the needy they do not judge. It says, shall I not visit for these things, said Yahweh? Shall not my soul be avenged on such nation as this? Yeah, because these 2/3 have become a whole nother nation. Look at Jay-Z, look at Puff Daddy. They became a whole nother nation. Okay, they're not of Israel. Okay, they're not following the law, statute, commandments. The Lord doesn't know them anymore. It says 30, a wonderful and horrible thing is committed in the land. The prophets prophesy falsely, and the priests bear rule by the means, and people love to have it so. And what will we do in the end thereof? So again, you have these false prophets that are out here that are teaching false doctrine. Okay, leading the flock astray. Okay, and it speaks about offending thy little ones. If you offend thy little ones, it's better for you to have a great millstone wrapped around your neck and you're thrown into the sea. And that sea is speaking about what these intercontinental ballistic missiles that are going to be hitting this place. Okay, Jeremiah 15:1 1. Then said Yahweh unto me through Moses, Samuel stood before me, yet my mind could not be towards this people. Cast them out of my sight, and let them go forth. It shall come to pass, if they say unto thee, whither shall we go forth? Then shalt tell them, thus said Yahweh, such as for death to death, okay, death to death, and such are for sword to sword, and such are for famine to famine, and such are from captivity to captivity. Okay, that's going into those internment camps. Okay, famine to famine. Yeah, you're going to be wandering around looking for food, and there's going to be none. Because only the servants of Yahweh Shema Shai are going to be able to eat in that day. Isaiah 65:13. My servant shall eat, right, and you shall be hungry. My servant shall drink, and you shall be of thirst. Why? Because you didn't hearken to the Lord. You didn't take it seriously. Okay? You tarried to the Lord. You didn't put off these mortal thoughts. Okay? And because of that, let's get that. These things are going to fall upon you. That's what Jacob's trouble is. Sirach 40:9, death and bloodshed, strife and sword, calamities and famine, tribulation and scourge. These are created for the wicked, and for their sakes came the flood. And that's Esau, Edom, coming in like a madman sparing none, that flood. Okay, coming in with those peacekeepers, coming in with his martial law, coming in with his drones, his super soldiers. Okay, coming in with the United Nations soldiers, right? Coming in with his sleeper cells. Death, bloodshed, as I said, sword to sword, death to death. Okay? And also you're going to have what? These spirits that are created for vengeance when there's no food. Sirach 39:28, there be spirits that are created for vengeance, which on their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. Who made them? The Lord. The Lord created good and evil. Okay? One to dishonor and to honor. The honor is Jacob. Okay? The dishonor is what? Esau, Edom. The wicked, the white man. Okay? And those spirits created for vengeance, okay, that goes into them taking away the food supply, telling these farmers they can't farm anymore, paying off the farmers, destroying all the foods, okay, bringing in these impossible foods, bringing in these, bringing in these bugs, these worms and things like that, okay, and also, going into when the dude was speaking, Charleston White, when he was speaking about Jake doesn't know how to grow anything. They've been relying on what? Esau, Edom. And that staff is going to be broken. Okay, the welfare system, the HUD, all these things are being broken down. And once you don't have these EBT and things like that, that's when Jake is going to lose everything. Okay? So this is real quick. Second Ezra, there's going to be what? A time of great misery when you don't have what? Food. Okay, when they have these blackouts and your food starts to get bad. Okay, Second Ezra 8:50, for many great miseries shall be done unto them in the latter times that dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. Yeah, so this world is walking in what? Great pride, and it has reached the heavens. Okay, and the Lord is bringing forth what? His judgment. That's why it's important to what? Make no tarrying to the Lord. Put off what? These mortal thoughts. Sirach 5:7, it says, make no tarrying to turn to Yahweh Shema Shai. Put not off from day to day, for suddenly shall the wrath of Yahweh Shema Shai come forth, and the security thou shalt be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance. Yeah, so your security is going to be destroyed. That relying in the government, that's going to be destroyed. Relying on these stimulus checks, relying on the these different programs, that's going to be destroyed. Okay, because that's what's happening. That's what all the infrastructure leads to, where they have to crash the whole economy. That's what the Great Reset, Build Back Better, climate change, all these different things is ultimately to have you charagma'd up, which is a graven image in your forehead or in your hand. And the Lord's not going to intervene. Let me just get this real quick. He's not going to intervene for those that are wicked, which is Isaiah 3:1. I want to read this in the NLT. The Lord Yahweh Shema Shai of heavens, of armies, will take away from Jerusalem and Judah everything they depend on, every bit of bread and every drop of water. Yeah, he's going to break that staff, okay, which is that money line that the government has given you, okay? And those are all curses, right? When you're not able to, like the guy said, he said that, they're always waiting for someone to give them food. Okay, but they're not going out and getting food. They don't know how to fish. They don't know how to grow some food grow some food, far as putting the seed in the water, or seed in the soil, and then growing it, growing food. They don't know that. They're relying on McDonald's. They're relying on GMO foods. They're relying on the bodega. Those places are going to start to be close. Okay. It says Jeremiah 15. Yeah, so I read that. Jeremiah 15:3, I will appoint over them 4 kinds, said Yahweh, the sword to slay and the dogs to tear, right? And so we had those dogs to tear. They were tearing out our, they were ripping the babies out of our, the mother's womb, and they were feeding them to the dogs. Now they have what? They have the modern day dogs. Okay, the modern day dogs, which are what? The robots that can be able to sense who you are, okay? And they have weapons on them, right? And it says, and to fowls of the heaven and the beasts of the earth to devour and to destroy. Okay? To destroy us, right? And this is all because we went off. This was in the past, but what was written for our foretime was written for our learning. This applies to today. It says 6, thou hast forsaken me, said Yahweh, and thou art gone backward. Therefore I will stretch out my hand against thee and destroy thee. I am weary with repenting. It says, I'm tired of always giving you another chance. Yeah, so our Lord, every single time that we cried to the Lord would save us. But what will we do? Jake would go back off again. Okay? And this is the judgment. Okay, that's coming forth. It says, I will fan them with a fan in the gates of the land. I will bereave them with the children. I will destroy my people since they return not from their ways. Yeah, so they don't repent from their ways. That's why it speaks about real quick that the Lord will visit in the third, fourth generation those that hate him. Exodus 20:5. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve, for I, Yahweh, thy power, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of their fathers upon the children in the third, fourth generation of them that hate me. And we're in that third, fourth generation. Okay? And the Lord's visiting by what? These plagues, these famines, these tribulations. Okay? These scourges. Right? So Jeremiah 15:8, the widows are increased to me above the sand of the seas. I have brought upon against the mother of young men a spoiler at noonday. I've caused him to fall upon suddenly in the terrors upon the city. Okay, so again, there's going to be terrors upon the city. And what is terrors? When you don't have food. Okay, that's going to be a terror upon the city, right? Mass deaths. And so I want to get into this real quick. This is actually, yeah. Go on. This is Ezekiel 7, and I'm going to go all the way down to 14. It says Ezekiel 7:1. Moreover, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, also, son of man, thus said Yahweh Bashem Rashai unto the land of Israel, the end is come upon the 4 corners of the land. How do we know that? Through measuring the time diligently. The uproars of the people, okay? That's how we measure the time diligently, because this Lord, because this devil has changed the ordinances and has defiled the land. So we don't know the actual time that we're in, but according to prophecy, we're at the end times. Okay? It says, now is the end come upon thee, and I will send my anger upon thee. I will judge thee according to thy ways, and I will recompense upon thee on all thy abominations. Yeah, so the Lord is drawing nigh on this place. Let's get it. And this is like a woman in travail. Let's get a couple different scriptures. Second Ezra 16:37, behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack, as a woman with a child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains which child cometh forth that slack not a moment. So those child pains is when you don't have money, you don't have food, okay, you don't have water, right? You don't have lights, you don't have shelter, okay? Those are those plagues. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and the sorrow shall come upon it on every side. So again, on every side, it's everywhere. You're not going to be able to escape the judgment, and the Lord's not going to all acquit the wicked, and the Lord is known by his judgment. Okay, and every morning he brings forth his judgment, and you're seeing it, right? This is 2 Ezra 6:18. 2 Ezra 6:18, and it said, behold, the day shall come that I will begin to draw nigh and to visit them that dwell upon the earth. How does the Lord visit? Through his judgment. I will begin to make inquisition of them what they be that hurt unjustly with the unrighteous, and when the affliction of Zion shall be fulfilled. So again, the afflictions is at the end. We're at the last point of us being in slavery. Okay, the Lord has woken up the prophets to be able to get to bid the elect to the marriage, and the Lord's going to draw out his elect. Okay, and they're going to be saved, right? And this is the end of Esau Edom's captivity. This is the end of our oppressors. This is the end of the heathen ruling. Okay, of the four beast systems ruling, and this is Rome 2.0. Okay, Babylon the Great. It says 22, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the full storehouses shall shut and be found empty. And that's what you're seeing when you have they're shutting down they fired over 70,000 truckers. Okay, why? Because they don't want to take the hot sauce, right? And when you have no truckers, and then also what did? They took out the oil. Okay, there's not going to have a certain oil for these big rig trucks, which means they're not going to be able to run. When you have no trucks, you have no food. Okay, when you have when you have no trucks, you have no food in the stores. When you have no food in the stores, you have what? Order out of chaos. You have people killing each other. Okay, and this is all strategically planned by the elites to have these people fighting against each other, ultimately executing a lot of them, and the ones that are left are going to be the ones that are going to bow down to the beast system, okay, and ultimately be slaves. And then the elect is going to be preserved by the Lord, okay, and that's going to create a lot of mass death, because again, these stores are going to be closed with this lockdown that's coming up. There all the again, the middle class that did make it on that last pandemic, they're going to be destroyed. They're going to be sitting on Skid Row, and they've never been broke. Okay, so which means they're going to do all types of things, right? For the love, the love of money, but ultimately just for food. Okay, it says, and the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. So the prophets are what? Blowing the trumpet, giving you the warning that there's war on the horizon. It's brewing right now, and it's on every side. It says 24, at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and earth shall stand in fear with those. It says those that dwell therein. The springs of fountain shall stand still in 3 hours, and they shall not run. So you're seeing Lake Mead drying up. You're seeing the Euphrates dry up. And also if a blackout hits or EMP hits, they're not going to be able to push forth water. Okay, there's not going to be any water, right? So no shower, no cooking, nothing. Okay, friends shall fight one against another. Yeah, they're going to be what? These class wars, these civil wars, these low-level Edomites. They realize that their white supremacy is up, and they're going to try to come against the government. You're going to have Jake lose it once they don't have no food. Once the welfare system, the HUD, the Section 8, all that stuff is out the door. Okay, that's when it's going to be all out chaos, right? It says 25, whoever remain from all these that I've told thee shall escape and see my salvation in the end of the world. So we're praying that we're able to endure to the end, endure what the sorrows that are about to happen to this place, right? So going back to 7, Ezekiel 7 and 3, now is the end come upon thee, and I will send my anger upon thee, and judge thy according to thy ways, and recompense upon all the abominations. Yeah, so the Lord is going to start judging this place, as he's doing right now. Let's get that real quick. It says Revelation 6 and 5, and when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, come and see. I behold a black horse, and he sat on him and had a pair of balances in his hand. Yeah, so judging righteousness and judging wickedness. And that black horse symbolizes slavery. Okay? It says 6, I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see that thou hurt not the oil in the wine. So that, again, that's going into hyperinflation. Okay? When that goes into denarius, which is the money system, right? And you have would be 10. So again, saying if you make $150 a day, okay, that might be how much that's going to be how much your food is. And we're seeing that in different places where bread would be like $1, okay, but now it's $10. That's hyperinflation, okay? And these things are going to keep happening because why? Because these stores don't have food in them, okay? You're seeing a lot of videos when the people go to the store and they don't have money. And ultimately, they're doing a diligent search because, you know, some places will just say, well, that store is out of it. We're just going to go to another one. But they're strategically taking out these certain stores, right? The oil and the wine symbolizes this truth, holding on to this truth, cleaving to this word, because it's the only thing that the elect has, okay? It's the only thing that a Hebrew Israelite has, but ultimately the elect, okay? Because again, there's going to be all-out chaos. It says, skipping down to 8, it says, I looked and behold a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and that pale horse is Esau Edom, okay? You have the red horse that's taken peace from the earth, okay? And then ultimately this pale horse is going to be the modern day Assyrian, the hammer of Yahweh Shemashai anger, okay? That's going to be upon 2/3 of his people. And of course you see the nations, right? I looked, behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death. Yeah, Esau Edom is known as death. Habakkuk 2 and 5, right? And hell is a condition played out on earth, right? Which is when you don't have no food, you don't have no water, you don't have no shelter, okay? You have these heart machines that are pushing forth this hot weather, okay? You have Esau Edom coming in with his soldiers, and power was given unto him that over the fourth part of the earth, yeah, that's speaking about America, the fourth part of the earth, to kill the sword and to hunger with death and with the beasts of the earth. Yep. So again, it's going to be like Jumanji out here. It's going to be animals running around that got the hot sauce, okay? Newly created animals that the Lord's going to have, and we're starting to see some of those, okay? So, you know, take heed, make no tarrying to the Lord, because these things are coming. And woe if you don't believe, okay? Can your incredulity change anything? Your unbelief, is that going to change the famine that's coming? Okay. It says Ezekiel 7 and 4, and my eye shall not spare thee, neither will I have pity, but I will recompense, which means to repay, thy ways upon thee and thy abominations, and shall be in the midst of thee, and you shall know that I am Yahweh. Yeah, the Lord's name is going to be glorified again, just like it was in Egypt. Okay, it's going to be glorified again, what? Through the judgment. It says, thus said Yahweh Shemashai, and only evil, behold, is come. Yeah, so the Lord is sending forth what? That evil, okay? Through what? His judgments of those that don't seek him. Because they're putting a siege. Let me get that, because I wanted to get that earlier. That's on my spirit. 28 and 47. And these are the curses that we would, we would want, food from our oppressor. Okay, just like we were in slavery and our oppressor fed us with that slop. Okay, that was it, and that we made basically a delicacy that people still eat, which is ultimately, creates all these different diseases, right? Deuteronomy 28 and 47, because thou servest not Yahweh Shemashai with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things. Yes, so because we didn't follow the law, statute, commandments that was given to us by our forefathers, we would have these curses fall upon us. It says, therefore, thou shalt serve thy enemies. Okay, who is our enemy? Starting Psalms 83, starting with Esau, Edom, okay, and these different heathen nations that we served under. Therefore thou serve thy enemies, which Yahweh shall send against thee in hunger and thirst and in nakedness and want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon the neck until have destroyed thee. So again, they did that physically, and now that yoke of iron is still on 2/3 of our people. Okay, far as that, it's a spiritual yoke around your neck, because again, not knowing who you are, that's a yoke around your neck. That means that you're in gross darkness. You're in the congregation of the dead. Okay, because again, the Lord has healed his elect, his hopeful elect, has healed them with what? This word, because Yahawashi is a physician, and this word heals you and it gives you comfort to be able to endure to the end. And yeah, shall want for hunger, so again, going back to food, even Jake at a low level, what do they have? They have the EBT, things like that, okay, from what? Esau Edom. And that was all strategically planned. The nakedness, so when you want clothing, they fed you, they give you shelter, Section 8, HUD, these different things, okay? And that's all from Esau Edom. These are the curses. Deuteronomy 28 and 49. And the Lord Yahweh shall bring a nation against thee from far from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. So again, we were speaking Hebrew. And what do we have now? We speak English, French, and Spanish. Those are our oppressors' language. Okay? Those are the oppressors' language, and they came from a far country. Okay? Over there in Europe. Okay? That bottomless pit. And conquering the land over here in America. Okay? When our brother's guy was already over here. Okay? And what did they do? They conquered the land by what? Lies and deception. And with that sword. Okay? It says 50, a nation of fierce of countenance, which shall not regard the person of old, and nor show favor of young. Yeah, they don't care about young Jake. That's why you have Planned Parenthood. That's a thing called eugenics, where they want to, have the baby, get knocked off, through these through these different procedures, which they actually, when they go into the womb, they actually crush the baby's head with these utensils, these instruments, showing you that what is that, Isaiah 32, the instruments of the churl, okay, and churl means niggerly, and that's who Esau Edom is. He's a true nigger, okay. He's the wicked, okay. He's truly ignorant, right? He's profane. He's outside the temple, and what they do is when they take these babies out, they study them, okay. And they study Jake to be able to implement these foods, these GMO foods, to implement the radio, the music, the frequencies, to be able to take away the trees in your neighborhood, creating forth these concrete jungles, which when you don't see trees, you don't have life. They have carbon in them, okay? And they have oxygen, okay? And when you don't have trees, there's no life. That's why it speaks about in Psalms 23, the green pastures. Green means to flourish, okay? And the Lord flourishes with you through this word, when he's supping with you, when he's being intimate with you, okay? And they haven't shown no favor on our people. That's why they shoot our people down in the streets, and they get away with it, okay? That's and it doesn't matter, So, and they, another thing is, what do they used to do? They used to rip the baby. I spoke about this earlier. But what they would do is they would cut off the breast of the woman, okay, and they would make it a tobacco pouch. Also, they would use our skin as jackets and as shoes, okay. They would use our babies as gator bait, okay. They would use a boy as a harlot. They would buck break our men, buck break the strongest men in front of the other family, so our people would comply, creating Stockholm syndrome. That's why a lot of people say, well, the white man ain't that bad, but he's the wicked that it speaks about in the scriptures. Look at his countenance. If adversity falls upon you, there he is. What is he doing with this monkey juice? What is he doing with who's creating this famine? This is the wicked, man. And the man of sin is being revealed starting with the prophets, okay, that are bringing forth the judgment. And then you have the Lord that's woken up with even these alternative networks like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, to expose this devil through the internet. And the internet is in the scriptures, okay, written over 2,000 years ago, showing you this book is faithful and true. There's no time, okay. There's not a time. We're in Bible times, right? It says Deuteronomy 28 and 52. I shall besiege thee in all thy gates until thy high fence walls come down, wherein thou trustest throughout all the land. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates throughout the land, which Yahweh thy power have given thee. Yep. So, and that's what he's doing. I spoke about it earlier, the 100-mile, if you're within 100 miles of the border, they can come into your house. That's a siege. When they cut off the food supply, that's a siege. They cut off the water, that's a siege. When they say there's going to be a blackout, an EMP, that's a siege. Okay? Which is what they do is they surround the town, which is they surround Babylon the Great, other parts of the world too. But we're just speaking about Babylon the Great because this is where the mass judgment is going to be. They're sieging the people, okay, and want them to comply to their orders, their mandates. What are their mandates? We want you to have the charagma. Okay, we want you to have this mark that's going to be able, so we can implant it into you so you will be our slave. forever. You will own nothing and be happy. Klaus Schwab said that, right? And they're accelerating that 2030 agenda program. Okay, let me get it real quick because I just spoke about it. You know, maybe because I had a couple. Yeah, so this is the 2030 agenda, and some of these they have already done. Social credit system, carbon footprint surveillance system. How are they going to do that? By implementing that device in you. Universal basic income. Yeah, because when they crash the dollar, and you don't have money in your account, they're going to say, hey, we have some money for you. We're going to help you. But you have to, take this device. Okay. You're seeing it over there in China where they have the tanks that are sitting in front of the banks. You're seeing it over there in Canada where they shut off the banking system, the debit card and the credit cards. And then also you couldn't call 911. Okay. Justin Trudeau, which is the prime minister up there in Canada, he's part of the Great Reset. Klaus Schwab, he's one of his cronies. Mandatory hot sauce for all ages. Didn't they do that? Aren't they on the kids now? Okay. Internet of Things, yeah, Internet of Bodies, the device inside of you. Destruction of genders, aren't they doing that by having a woman, man, and transformer on the bathrooms? They're having the woman, what was that? Jackson, the lady that she became the one of the judges, Supreme Court justice. Okay, when they asked her what is a woman, and she couldn't define it, that was all strategically planned, because the woman has become like the man. They want to be the men, and that shows you that we're in the land of darkness, where there is no order. There's no order. The woman's above the man. Okay, which that doesn't make no sense, right? According to the scriptures, because you have what? You have the head, which is Yahweh, right? Then you have what? Yahawashi. Okay, then you have what? The man worships Yahawashi and Yahweh, right? And then you have what? The woman, okay? And then you have what? The children. And that's how the order goes. But this place has been turned upside down. Okay? Restriction, non-essential air travel. Yeah, that's why the people were not flying, because they took those pilots took the hot sauce. So now they're not flying. Restricting it. This is all part of their legislation when you go into it. I think I have it right here. Okay? Sustainable development, New World Order. Okay? This is all a Hegelian dialect. It says this is Dad, why do people give up on freedom for security? It says it's called the Hegelian dialect, sweetie. They create a problem. The problem creates a reaction. If there is enough fear and hysteria, people will not only accept a solution that limits their rights, but they will actually beg for it. Yeah. It's all propaganda. Okay? Hegelian dialect. Yeah, they've done this before as far as with the famine, the Great Leap Forward. This was over there in China where they starved out all the people. Also, we're over there in Italy with Mussolini. Okay? They've done this before, and they're doing it again. Right? This is Bill Gates. Bill Gates is the largest private farmland owner in America, which America means bitter. He also owns 500,000 shares of Monsanto, which is what? The seed, contaminating the seeds, crossing the seeds. Okay, creating forth what these different cancers on these as far as the food that's grown. This is a major attack on organic food, what nature intended, the farm supply at large, ultimately on humans. So again, and what? The gates of hell is not going to prevail. They're not going to win this battle. Okay? The movie's already been written from the beginning, and Yahawashi wins. The righteous win. The wicked, they're going to be servants. They're going to be put down. This is Gates. This is all the farmland that he has. And this is just, this is evidence, that's because we're supposed to be testifying against this devil. This is one of their quotes. This is one of their hirelings, Henry A. Kissinger, that does a lot of these elites dirt. It says, who controls the food supply? Who controls the people? Okay, who controls the food supply? Esau, Edom. Genesis 27:39, where it speaks about he would have the fatness of the earth and the oil that goes into the fertile lands. He would have all the resources, right? Who controls the energy? Who controls the energy? They do, okay? They control everything. That's why you have to pay for everything. It says, can control the whole continents. Who controls the whole world? Habakkuk 2:5. He enlarges places as hell, and he is as death. He's always in other people's business. Okay, that's why he's over there in Ukraine. That's why he's over there in Syria. That's why he's in over 80 countries. There are 800 bases pushing for the democracy, which is creating a dictator rulership, a very harsh rulership. And now they're starting to speak draconian. This is their executive orders. Okay. I want to get this one. Yeah, it says distribution of energy at the bottom, distribution of energy sources, wages, salaries, credit, and flow of money. Yeah, they're knocking out the petrodollar, the paper dollar, bringing in the central banking digital currency, which is creating these blockchains, which they can, if you don't comply, they'll just shut you off. Okay. This is the one I want to get right here. Yeah, allows, so we'll just go from the top. Yeah, so they control the highways and the seaports. What are they doing right now? They're controlling over there. I was going to do a video on it, Lord's will. Panama City is being cut off, okay, which is a major export to go to the West Coast, okay? And vice versa, West Coast to the East Coast, cutting off the essentials, the siege. Allows government to seize control of communication media. Barack Obama signed a legislation where the media doesn't have to tell you the truth. Okay. Plus, they own it all. They own Fox, NBC, ABC, CBS. They own all those networks, right? It says allows, and who am I speaking about? The wicked, the white man. Okay. Allows the government to take over all electrical power, gas, petroleum fuels, and minerals. Don't they do that? Right? What is Joe Butthead doing? He's sending the crude oil, the reserves, they're sending them over to Europe. Okay? And then you have a lot of these government officials that are resigning, or they're getting knocked off. Right? Because they won't comply. Allows the government to take over all, right there. Executive order. And this is under FEMA. Federal Emergency Management Act, which Joe Butthead, Pedo Joe, has signed over all his rights over to FEMA. And now they're saying also they have the HR 4350, which is where he has all dictator rulership. And you see that they're playing him as that he's sick. Okay, so which is going to create Chlamydia Harris to come in there. And when she comes in there, if she, I believe that through the spirit, because he got cancer, he got the hot sauce, he got you know what I mean? They got him on these charges. As far as you hear these things in the background. You got his son smoking crack, so it's not looking good. And our people voted for him. You know what I mean? So so woe unto you that trust in your oppressor. Yeah, so allows government. Yeah, 10998 allows the government to take over all food resources and farms. Aren't they doing that? Even you had Bill Gates, BG, you had him up there. I think it was either North Dakota or South Dakota. He bought up some land illegally, and then they made an uproar in one day, and then the next day they stopped it. They said no, it's okay, it's all good. In one day. Usually court system it takes a minute, right? It was okay for that day. It says allows the government to take. Oh yeah, so I got that. Yeah, allows the government to take over all health, education, and welfare functions. So welfare, what is that? Going into the money system, going into EBT and things like that, where a lot of Jake is on that. Once they cut that off, they already know they're going to lose it. Okay? Health, education, what do? They had a lot of these doctors leave, bringing in their own doctors. Why? Because they didn't want to take the hot sauce, or they didn't want to be a part of that. Right? So they put in their own people that would do it. And a lot of those are sleeper cells from these different countries, right? Allows the government to take over all airports. Aren't they doing that? Allows Housing and Finance Authority to relocate communities, build new housing with public funds. And that's what they're doing. They're taking people that are off the streets, putting them in these certain houses that are close to these, these trolleys and these train tracks, ultimately to round them up, to be able to legally execute them. Because why? They have these... FEMA has also bought a bunch of coffins, okay, a bunch of body bags, Okay, a bunch of FEMA has bought over 1 billion bullets. IRS has bought over 1 million bullets. Why would they? And they want to take away your weapons. Okay, why would they want to do that? Right? Because Esau Edom is a bully. He wants to be able to come in and easily execute you or legally do what he wants to you. Okay, but the elect, they're not going to be able to do that. Right? So I just want to, show those just for, just some evidence. So this is Deuteronomy 28, because they're sieging on this place. Deuteronomy 28 and 52. I want to read this in the NLT. They will attack your cities until they fortify walls in the land. The walls are trusted to protect you are knocked down. They will attack all the towns in the land of Yahweh Shemar Shai as given you. Yeah, they're like a madman sparing none, coming in like a flood. And the Lord's going to lift up that standard for his elect. 53. It says, and thou shalt eat the fruit of thy own body and the flesh of thy sons and thy daughters, which Yahweh Shemar Shai had given thee, and the siege and the straitness wherewith thy enemies shall distress thee. So again, that's going into cannibalism. Okay? Because again, when you don't have food, you're going to start looking at your children. Okay? And people don't believe this, but it's happened before. And we'll get a count of that. Is that 6 and 24? Yeah, 2 Kings 6 and 25. And there was a great famine in Samaria, and behold, they besieged it. What are they doing right now? Same thing. They're sieging it. A military tactic, right? A blockade. Behold, they besieged it until an ass head was sold for 80 pieces of silver, and the fourth part of a calf, the dove's dung, for 5 pieces of silver. So again, dove's dung. You're going to be eating things that are, not good. And this is good. And that's also going into hyperinflation. It says, and as the king of Israel was passing by upon the wall, they cried a woman unto me, saying, help me, O Lord King. And he said, if Yahweh do not help thee. So he's telling him, if Yahweh doesn't help you, right? Help this lady, right? Help thee. When shall I help thee? Out of the barn floor or with the wine press? So how is somebody else going to help you if the Lord doesn't help you, right? Just want to highlight this real quick. Right? It says 28, and the king said unto her, what aileth thee? Yeah, so what's wrong with you? And he answered, this woman said unto me, give thy son, and thou may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow. So again, going into sodding the children, which goes into boil. Yeah, so 29. So we boiled my son, I did eat him, and it said unto her the next day, give thy son, that we may eat, and she hath hid her son. So again, going into, there's going to be a lot of waxing cold. It speaks about in Matthew 24. Talking about they going to I'll boil your son today. Tomorrow you can boil mine. And then when she came back, or when they came back, guess what? The sun was hidden. Okay? Showing you there's going to be waxing colder. Right? And this is all part of this was all written. Because that staff of bread is being broken. Let's get one more scripture. This is Joel 1 and 15. Joel 1 and 15, at last for that day, the day of Yahweh is at hand, and as destruction for the Almighty shall it come. Is not your meat cut off before your eyes? Yeah, your joy and gladness from the house of Yahweh. So again, yeah, the food supply cut off. Your joyful celebration. Let me read this in NLT. It says, our food disappears before our very eyes. No joyful celebrations are held in the house of Yahweh. Yeah, so it's not going to be a time of joy. It's going to be a time of what? Darkness and gloom. 17, the seed is rotten under their clods, and the garners are laid desolate. The barns are broken down, for corn is weathered. Yep. So again, and you're seeing that. You're seeing what over 100 food plants that have been destroyed. You're seeing the destroying of crops. Okay. You're seeing the droughts. Okay. You're seeing the empty barns, right? It says 18, how do the beasts groan? The herds of the cattle are perplexed because they have no pasture. Yet the flocks of the sheep are made desolate. Yeah, so you saw over there in, I think that was Kansas, where they had over 1,000 cattle that was killed. And the one thing that you notice about that video, okay, if you look it up, I did a video about it when it came out about a month ago, but the guy was showing a little bit of it. One thing about those the cattle that was killed, you didn't see no vultures over them. You didn't see no flies over them. Okay? And when something dies like that, you have where these different animals, these vultures and these flies, they start to come up out of these animals. And you didn't see none of that, showing you that that's a strategic hit by one of these, their different weapons that they have to be able to destroy them, because they must have had chemicals over them. Okay, because again, none of the vultures, none of the animals, no animal was going up, because the animal is going to eat an animal, and you didn't see that, right? And that's just one thing, that someone had brought out, and I realized, and it made sense. It says 19, O Yahweh, to thee I will cry for fire. Fire hath devoured the pastures of the wilderness, and the flame hath burned all the trees of the field. Yeah, the fire has consumed the wilderness, the pastures, and the flames have burned up all the trees. So again, isn't that happening? Okay, they're having these fires in different places. I was speaking about over there in Europe, but you have them over here in California too. And these are strategically planned, right, by these elites. It says 20, it says, the beasts of the field cry also unto thee, for the rivers of waters are dried up, and the fire hath devoured the pastures of the wilderness. Yeah, it says in the NLT, it says, even the wild animals cry out to you. And aren't the animals, you see these mass birds dying? Okay, you have these whales beaching themselves. Okay, it says, even the wild animals cry out to you, because the streams have dried up and fire has consumed the wilderness pastures. Yep. So think about and then you have these mass, all these fish dying. Okay. So these things are happening, and they are drying up. And I had the video where I showed it, far as the Lake Mead. Okay. In different parts of the world. So I want to get one more. Let's see, before I go back to Ezekiel. So Psalms 105 and 16. Psalms 105 and 16. Moreover, he called for a famine upon the land, and he will break the whole staff of bread. Yeah, so you're not going to be able to have the luxuries that you once had. Okay? There's going to be a drought. Let me get another one on the drought. This is Jeremiah 50 and 7. All that found them have devoured them, and they adversaries said, we offend not, because you have sinned against Yahweh and the habitation of justice, even Yahweh, thy hope of thy fathers. Remove out the midst of Babylon forth. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, so ultimately that goes into the judgments, because these devils are going to be like a madman sparing none, going destroying all these different lands and coming into the spoiling of the goods in your house, right? Psalms 107 and 34. Psalms 107 and 34, a fruitful land into barrenness for the wickedness of them that dwell therein. Okay, he turned the wilderness into the standing water, and the dry ground into water springs, and there maketh hungry to dwell, that may prepare the city of habitation. Okay, and that's going into the famine. Okay, that's going into, actually, yeah, I want to start at, I want to start at 33. Let me read this again. Psalms 103 and 33, or Slakia 107 and 33. I'm going to read this in the NLT. He changes rivers into deserts and springs of water into dry, thirsty land. He turns the fruitful land into salty wastelands because of the wilderness who lives there. But he also turns deserts into pools of water, dry land into springs of water. He brings the hungry to settle there and to build their cities. They sow the fields, plant their vineyards, harvest their bumper crops. How he blesses them. They raise large families. Their herds of livestock increase. Yeah, so that's if we would have followed the law, statutes, and commandments. But we see that that's not happening no more. And so, Psalms 107, let me read that again. He says, 33, he turned the rivers into the wilderness and the water springs into dry ground. You have Euphrates, you have Lake Mead in other parts of the world. A fruitful land into barrenness for the wickedness of them that dwell therein. He turned the wilderness into the standing water and dry ground into water springs. Okay. So that's going into the, I just want to touch on the drought, for that, far as what's happening, because when you don't have water, that's when a lot of people are going to start, waxing colder too. Okay. So let's go into famine, because the Lord's going to bring those arrows of famine. Ezekiel 5 and 16, when I shall send upon them evil arrows of famine, which shall for their destruction, which I will send to destroy you, I will increase the famine upon you, and I will break your staff of bread. Yep, going into your different, your reliance on Esau, Edom. He's going to break that. You're not going to be able to just go down to these stores. It says it right here again, Ezekiel 4:16. Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, behold, I will break thy staff and the bread of Jerusalem, and they shall eat bread of weight, okay, and with care, and shall drink water by measure, and with astonishment. Yeah, so they're going to be dismayed at the things that they're going to eat. Those one-time luxuries, victuals shall be so cheap upon the land, and that we're at that time where those victuals are not so cheap anymore. 17, that they may want bread and water and be astonished with one another and consume away for their iniquity. Yep. Lacking food and water, people will look at one another in terror, and they will waste under their punishment. Yep. So people are going to be, Lamentations 4, it speaks about pining away. Because again, when you don't have food in your system, your body starts to eat whatever that's in there. It starts to eat up at itself. And that's the time that we're headed in. That's the time that we're, the beginning stages of it. So I want to go back to this. Is Ezekiel 7:9. My eye shall not spare, neither have pity or recompense thee according to thy ways and thy abominations that are in the midst of thee, and shall know that I am Yahweh that smiteth thee. Yeah, so the Lord is bringing forth his judgment. Okay. Behold, the day, behold, is come, the morning is gone forth, the rod hath blossomed, pride hath budded. Yeah, the people's wickedness and pride have blossomed to the full flower. It's been reaching. Let me get two scriptures on that. This is 2 Ezra 15. 2 Ezra 15:4. For the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Behold, said Yahweh Shemashai, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, the famine, the death, and destruction. For wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and the wholesome works are fulfilled. Yeah, so all the things have been fulfilled. Okay? Because the Lord's not going to stir up anything. The Lord is coming in a said measure. Okay? In a said time. The vision is yet for an appointed time. I want to get one more scripture. I'll go back to that. Isaiah 13 and 13. It might be 14, actually. Yeah, it's actually 11. It says Isaiah 13:11, and I will punish the world for their evil and the wicked for their iniquity. I have caused the arrogancy of the proud to cease. I will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. And that's going to Esau being put down, but also these wicked demons that follow Esau. Let's get that. This is 15. Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto him shall fall by the sword. Yeah, so anybody that trusted in Esau, you're going to be thrusted through. Okay. You're going to get the same, you're going to get the same punishment, right? Which is death, hypersonic missiles, right? So I just want to get that point. Let's go back to Ezekiel 7. Ezekiel 7:11, violence is risen upon the rod of wickedness. None of them shall remain, nor of the multitude, nor of any of theirs. Neither shall there be wailing for them. Okay? No one's going to be able to save you. Let's read this in the NLT. Their violence has grown into the rod that they will beat them from the wickedness. None of these proud and wicked people will survive. All their wealth and prestige will be swept away. Yeah, so any kind of wealth, any kind of riches that you had is going to be swept away because Esau is going to take it away from you. Ultimately, the Lord, right? 12, the time has come, the day draweth near. Let not the buyer rejoice, nor the seller mourn, for wrath is upon the multitude thereof. Okay, no one's going to be able to sell anything. Okay, right? 13, for the seller shall not return. Yeah, right here, it says right there. It says, let me read this in the NLT. Even if the merchants survive, they will never return to their businesses. And are we seeing that? Because the truckers are not going to be able to deliver food. Okay, there's going to be a lockdown, which is going to create what? A lot of these stores shutting down. It says, even if merchants survive, they will not return to their business. For what Yahweh has said applies to everyone. It will not be changed. Not one person whose life is twisted by sin will ever recover. Okay. 14, they have blown the trumpet even to make all ready, but none go into the battle, for the wrath is upon the multitude thereof. So the prophets are blowing the trumpet. Okay, but none of the people want to comply to the prophets. None of them want to listen. Okay. It says, and because of this, right, because of that, Ezekiel 7:15, the sword is without pestilence, and the famine within that is in the field shall die with the sword, and he that is in the city, and famine and pestilence shall devour him. So again, no one's going to escape the judgment of the Heavenly Father, only the elect. It says 16, but they that escape of them shall escape and shall be in the mountains like doves of the valleys, and all of them mourning, every one of his iniquity. It says all hands shall be feeble and all knees shall be weak as water. Yeah, because again, you're going to be shaken because there's going to be so much death. It says, speaks about that in Amos. You know, you escape a bear, then a lion had met you. Ezekiel 7 and 18. They shall also gird themselves with sackcloth, and horror shall cover thee, and shame shall be upon their faces, and baldness upon their heads. Yeah, so going into they're going to be shamefaced because you didn't hearken to this word. Okay, they shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed. Their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of wrath of Yahweh. They shall satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels, because it is the stumbling block of the iniquity. Okay. Yep, because they walked in great pride. So now they're casting away you're seeing that in different places where the money is just being thrown out because the paper dollar is not worth anything. Okay, because money is not going to be able to profit you in the day of wrath. All right? So I'm going to end it right there. Call Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai Ba'Hashem Kakwadash. Shalom to the elect. Kwam Yashala.